why would a tariff make a banana sad? It sounds kind of silly, right? Well, today we're going to unpack that with a really simple story. It's all about monkeys, bananas, and yeah, some surprisingly serious economics. Okay, to start things off, I want you to picture something. Just imagine this really peaceful island. Blue skies, calm seas, basically a perfect little paradise. So on this island, life is incredibly simple. There's no war to worry about, which is great, and maybe even better, there are absolutely no taxes. Can you imagine just a totally uncomplicated, chill existence? And who lives here? Monkeys. Just monkeys. And what do these monkeys have? You guessed it, bananas. Tons and tons of them. For them, life is pretty much perfect. So we're talking a real banana paradise here. Every single morning, like clockwork, a boat shows up from a place called Banana Land, and it brings a whole shipment of these amazing bananas. They're cheap, they're delicious, they're perfect. And of course, all the monkeys are super happy. And this perfect little routine just goes on and on, day after day, until, it doesn't. One day, everything changes. A very serious-looking monkey, all dressed up in a suit, gets up to give a speech.
And this monkey, he declares with all this confidence, foreign bananas are a threat to our domestic banana industry. Now here's the funny part. Nobody in the crowd really has a clue what that means. But man, he says it with such authority.
So what do you think happens? Everybody just starts applauding. The speech is a massive hit. And with all this popular support, the monkey government feels like, okay, we have to do something.
And that something they come up with? It's a customs tariff. The government decides it's time to slap a new rule on all those foreign bananas coming into the island. So what is a customs tariff anyway? Well, the easiest way to think about it is like a banana toll. It's really just a fee. If a banana wants to come onto the island, now it's got to pay extra money just to get through the door. Simple as that. All right, so the next day, the boat from Banana Land shows up again. It's got the same delicious bananas, but, surprise, they cost more now. And this brings us to the biggest question in this whole story. Who is actually paying for this new tax? Well, you get two very different answers depending on who you ask. The government is out there telling everyone super confidently, oh, don't worry, foreign Banana Land will pay for it. But then you go ask the folks at Banana Land, and their answer is pretty much, no way. They're not just going to eat that cost. So here's the bottom line. If the seller isn't going to pay for it and the government isn't paying for it, well, that cost has to go somewhere, right? It just gets passed right down the line. The ones who really end up paying this toll are the ones at the very end, the monkeys buying the bananas. Now, of course, the government has a reason for all this. They're saying, hey, don't worry, everyone. This tariff is going to protect our local banana farmers. And, on the surface, that sounds pretty good, right? A noble goal. But this is exactly where the story starts to take a turn for the worse. And here's the huge problem that pops up. Those imported bananas, the really good ones, are now super expensive. What about the local bananas? Well, they've always been kind of small, a bit brown. Let's be honest, just not as good. But now that their biggest competition costs more, guess what? The local farmers start jacking up their prices too. And why would they do that? Well, it comes down to a really basic economic idea. When you get rid of the competition, there's no real reason to keep your prices low or your quality high. The local farmers can suddenly charge more for their not-so-great bananas, just because they can get away with it.
This one little change sets off a whole chain reaction. It starts like this. Since all the bananas are expensive now, the monkeys start buying fewer of them. That means the banana sellers on the island sell less. And if they're selling less, they start ordering less from the farmers. And the farmers, well, they start producing less. You can see how the entire economy just starts to slow down.
But what about our politician, the slick monkey in the suit? He gets right back up on stage, points to the fact that fewer foreign bananas are coming in, and declares, this is a huge success. And the crowd goes wild, cheering him on, totally missing what's really happening to their wallets.
Okay, so after all of that, what's the big takeaway from our little story about sad bananas? What's the real lesson we're supposed to learn here? It turns out, tariffs don't really punish the foreign country you think you're targeting. They mostly end up punishing your own people. They punish the consumers, in our story the monkeys, who now have to pay way more for everything. And they punish the small businesses, like the local banana sellers, who suddenly see their sales completely dry up. And the craziest part is, this all happens under the banner of protection. But as we just saw, the policy completely backfired. It ended up hurting the very monkeys it was supposed to be helping, leaving everyone with higher prices and a sputtering economy.
And you know, the saddest part of this whole thing, through this entire economic and political drama, the bananas didn't do a single thing wrong. They were just, bananas. It's a simple little story for sure, but man, it really leaves you thinking, doesn't it?